Hello, hello. It's good to see you all. Hello. Hi
Seeing
there.
everyone roll on in.
Oh,
I
it's
love
so
that there's a
good.
picture just on the blanket right away.
Yes. Amazing. Oh, it's so good to see everybody. We're getting everyone in here.
Ooh, I like the one that's using it as a background. I think Georgia, just
Ooh,
we
very
see both
nice.
Georgia and the blanket.
If you have your blanket, whether it's finished or not, hold it up. We do want to see it. I've got mine. I know it. Some people are still working. Some people have made two. There's some. Ooh, look how
Oh,
pretty.
wow. Oh, I see Tracy used looks like
Gorgeous.
the smaller squares. Oh, wow.
I love them. Look how colorful. These are great. Oh my goodness.
Wearing it as a wrap.
Yes.
Ooh, I like that red and white one.
Very
Oh, and
pretty.
a little pink too.
Nice. All right, we're going to give it a little bit longer for everyone to join, but if you finished your blanket, we'd love to hear about it. Put an emoji in the chat, say hi, say where you're coming in from. It's, we all have to get to know each other. Say hi.
Ooh, I see another really cool one with like white as the main color, but red and green, just really bold colors.
Oh,
But
very fun.
yeah, we definitely want to see these. We're going to have a section at the end for some show and tell just for this, because
Yeah.
that's what today's is all about. We really want to see what you've done or how far you've gotten,
Yeah.
regardless.
This is a big undertaking. This is a big project, something to be super proud of. So we want to be able to see everybody's blankets for sure. Let's see, we'll give it a little bit longer. My blanket is living with the baby across the country. Oh, that's so sweet. I know this has been a very popular gift knit for babies, baby blankets. We love that. Hello, hello. Everybody who's just joining. Hello, it's good to see you.
I saw Chicago saying hello, but I thought that said my blanket saying hello. And I went, oh, hello to your blanket.
Hello. All right. Well, I can go ahead and get started. Yeah. Hello, everybody. We're going to go ahead and get started. My name is Margaret. Thank you so much for coming to our finished object party for our Prism Blanket Knit-Along. My name is Margaret. Like I said, I'm the social media and outreach coordinator at Purl Soho, and I'm joined today by Jaja as a co-host, who is the customer service manager. We also have our moderators, Kat from our customer service team, Gianna from our design team, and Allie from our e-coms team. So thank you all for being here. It's so great to have you.
And Kat, Gianna, and Allie are going to help as our moderators, like Margaret said today. And usually what they do, if you haven't been here before, is that they tend to have links at the ready for when we're talking about things as we're talking about them, so you can save them. They also try to answer some of the simpler questions in the chat, but most important of all, they'll be collecting the more difficult ones from Margaret and I, so we can answer as many as we can towards the end. And that's a really big job, and we appreciate them so much for doing that. So thank you guys for joining us. Like, I know we have a smaller team than usual, but still, like, these are the people we usually have, so we're really grateful. And when I say questions, oh, go ahead, Margaret.
Oh, I was just to say I added spotlight so everyone could see us.
Oh, yeah.
There we go.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mentioned questions, and we usually have a Q&A section towards the end, which we will today, but I feel like there might not be as many because this is the last Zoom and Knit for the Prism Blanket, and it's mainly meant for celebrating. So we're really glad to have seen all the photos that have come in over like emails, Instagram, social media, but we also have a Knit-Along page. And this was funny. I actually didn't realize until recently that we have a whole archive set to saving these. And I just want, Margaret told me about it. And if you want to see it and just take a trip down memory lane, we have one for each of our Knit-Along so far. And you can find that by scrolling to the bottom of our website and clicking on KAL archive. So
yeah, that link lives there permanently, and you can go check out previous knit-alongs and see people's projects and pictures on there. It's a great resource just to see what people are making. But I've definitely enjoyed working on this blanket. It's been so fun. I mean, there's lots to look forward to today too. We have lots to cover. we're going to be announcing the giveaway winners, which is very exciting.
Yes.
We also are going to be giving a sneak peek at our next knit along, which
is funny. I just, someone just asked about it.
Yes, very exciting. And then I'm also going to be demonstrating how to weave in ends again, because I think that's just a nice thing to cover, whether you've woven in your ends or it's like a quick refresher. I know there's a lot of ends in this blanket, so it's good to go over again. And then, like Jaja said, we'll have a Q&A for any lingering questions, and then a show and tell time so we can see all your beautiful blankets. But I'm super excited.
And if you haven't finished yet, that's okay too. I'll be honest, I didn't finish mine, but that's okay. As always, we're still going to be offering support for this and any of our other previous knit-alongs. And if you have questions that we don't get to today, you can always reach out to us over email at customerservice@purlsoho.com or knit-along@purlsoho.com. And we monitor both of those. And just that's more if you have something specific to your project. But we will go over the questions that we can today. So yeah, we're really excited to see everyone's. We'll check the chat. We'll talk with you. We're getting ready to go.
Yeah, and we're also recording this Zoom and Knit so it can be available later for people who couldn't join us live. If you don't wish to be recorded, you can mute yourself and turn off the camera. But yeah, let's go ahead and get started. So first thing we wanted to talk about is we asked the designers of this blanket some questions about their design process, and we wanted to share some of their responses because it's kind of cool to see their insight as designers of how this project came to be. This blanket was designed by Gaby Bush and Joelle Hoverson. Joelle is the owner of Purl Soho, if you didn't know. Gaby began working for Purl in 2019, and then she joined the design team in 2020. So her role is usually project timelines and tech editing for patterns. When inspiration strikes, she says, there's always the opportunity to see ideas become amazing patterns. So that's kind of how this pattern came to be. Joelle, she opened Purl in 2002, and then she's been designing for Purl Soho since 2003. Then in 2004, she had a busy few years.
Yeah.
her first book came out called Last Minute Knitted Gifts, which was largely inspired by Elizabeth Zimmerman's way of knitting and ethos, specifically seamless construction in design, which, as you might be familiar with in the Prism Blanket, that's a key feature, is the seamless construction, so you can enjoy your blanket as soon as you're done knitting it. Joelle says that's part of the beauty of knitting, and I totally agree. And it's also nice that you don't have to spend all that time at the end of your project sewing. You can just get right to enjoying the blanket. We also
minus
asked
the weaving in ends.
Yes, yes, minus the weaving in ends, but you can at least still wear your blanket while you're weaving them in. Mm-hmm. We also asked the designers why they chose good wool, because good wool is a special yarn and it's really cool, but I'm sure they had reasons for it. So Joelle said that the colors in good wool were developed by dyeing the same colors over the initial undyed good wool tones, which meant that we have some very closely related colors, which work super well for creating blanket palettes and pairing colors together. Gaby said that the blanket was designed in good wool from the get-go, but it's super light, it's very warm, so it's kind of the best of both worlds for feeling cozy without getting weighed down. And like Joelle kind of mentioned, the color palette is huge, so it's kind of a no-brainer. There's just so many reasons to enjoy good wool for this blanket.
Yeah, I feel like the only other yarn we have that has this many colors is linen quill, but we already did a knit along in that. We wanted to feature a different yarn this time.
Exactly. All the love.
And speaking about how we really take a lot of inspiration from seamless knitting, we asked them, well, we talked about how this was really popular with beginner knitters. A lot of people would ask, is this okay for me to try as a beginner knitter? And for the most part, yes, because, it's mainly garter stitch, but you're learning some new tips and tricks. And so we asked the designers if they anticipated that, and they had the following to say. So Gaby in particular said yes and no. Something that was really important from the beginning was that there be no seaming, which is the common thread throughout a lot of Joelle's designs, if you've ever seen them or worked with them before. And that's appealing to a lot of beginners and expert knitters alike. I know I tend to avoid it like a match a stitch whenever I can. It's just I'm mainly a knitter, not a sewer, so nothing against it, but I just find it saves a lot of time. And then things tend to even out and just look more cohesive. And so we wanted a way that we could do that all and focus on simplicity, because a lot of our designs, we want to be approachable by everybody. And we don't like to set a label of just, oh, this is intermediate or hard. We like to really just introduce new techniques so you can expand upon what you're learning. And again, if you're already an expert knitter, it's just something that's fun to do and just kind of zone out, but keep your interest just enough. Gaby also had to say that the flip side is that the construction is slightly unconventional, which is a fun challenge to wrap your head around. Because, the stitch pattern, which is garter, is great for beginners, but the techniques involved create an interesting opportunity to level up your skills. So, we had the, I feel like the big thing in this was picking up those stitches.
Yes, definitely.
We had, adding stitches and decreasing every other row, which was also important to learn. And I think something new for people, but that's something that was a lot of fun. So we think it's a great idea to just have fun and learn at the same time. And on Joelle's end, she also said that I was hopeful it would be popular for beginner knitters and experienced knitters alike. So they agree on both ends. So it was really funny to give them these questions, and we heard back so quickly, and it was just reading through it of I wish I knew this sooner before starting the project. So we have some more fun tidbits from them that we're just going to sprinkle in throughout today's Zoom and Knit. So keep an ear out for those. But for now, Margaret's going to go ahead and show in those ends again, how to weave them in, because we have a few requests since, ending about just a refresher on how to do that. So we'll do a brief one, but if you were at our last Zoom and Knit, that's already in super detailed there.
Yes, we covered this in our last Zoom and Knit more in depth, but I'm going to demonstrate it again just because it's helpful. There's a lot of ends. It might be a nice refresher. So I'm going to go ahead and share my document camera, and then there we go. Okay, thanks. So all of the ends in this blanket can be woven in this way. We call this the duplicate stitch method, where you're just duplicating the garter ridges. You can see I've gone ahead and done a few in blue here so far, just to help see what we're working with. And the moderators put a link in the chat to our tutorial, which is where we fully covered this technique. But the point of this method for weaving in ends is to duplicate or replicate these stitches. So you're just going to be tracing these stitches with your yarn. So once you come to a point where you're ready to weave in your ends, you'll thread your tapestry needle, and then this first stitch here, what you're going to do is find, sometimes in garter ridges we'll say there's smiles and frowns. So this is like a smile and this is a frown. Sometimes people say they're like rainbows, but what we're going to do is we're going to trace with our yarn right over this frown. So we're going to go right down through this purl bump with our yarn and pull that through, and that effectively duplicates that frown, that ridge right there. And you can wiggle it around with your fingers to kind of place it where you like. Then, as we continue to trace through these stitches, we're going to go down here, and you can see that this loop goes, let me see if I can focus this some more. There we go. This loop right here is the next loop we're going to be duplicating. This one right here, it kind of goes underneath these two loops, which is exactly where you're going to thread your needle as we duplicate this stitch. So we're going to go right down through here and up just like that. And then we're going to pull that through. And this will duplicate it on the other side as well. So if we flip real quick just to see what we're doing on the other side, you can see these have their little shadow purl bumps right with them. So let's keep going. We're going to go back up through that smile right here that we just went down through. We're going to go back up and continue to trace it all the way around. Go around just like so. And there we go. Then we're going to want to identify this loop right here, which is where we're going to be duplicating again, just like that. Maybe that'll help to show how we're duplicating that right there. Okay, and then we'll pull it through. And on you go again and again and again until you're satisfied with how many stitches you've duplicated and woven in. Then you can go ahead and cut that tail and I like to just kind of pat it in between the garter bumps or the garter ridges just to kind of conceal that. But for every tail in the blanket, this is how we'll do that. I see a question in the chat to demonstrate how to tie off the yarn after you weave through. So I'll go ahead and do this right now. I would just grab my scissors and then cut right here. And then, oh, I didn't cut all the way through, whoopsies.
It's hanging on.
And then I would just kind of stretch out the fabric a little bit so it still stays intact, but then it's nice and hidden between the garter ridges. This one I would need to do the same with, but
yeah, I was just going to ask about this. Margaret was asked, is Margaret working on the back side or the front? In this example, you're showing from the right side, but
yes.
Would you do duplicate stitch the same way if you were doing it on the wrong side? Because I know I like to weave in my ends on the wrong side usually.
Yes, this was just for demonstrating, but you would do it on the wrong side. And it's the same exact situation because there's still these smiles and frowns of the garter ridges because garter is the same on both sides. So it's still the same. And then that will leave these shadows on this side, which will be a little bit more concealed. So thank you for pointing that out. Next, I see a question in the chat. It's jumping ahead of me. Here we go. Okay, so the other thing I want to talk about with weaving in ends is the holes between squares. Those are totally normal and just part of how this blanket comes together, but we have some tricks for how to weave in those ends. So let me get my blanket all in here. Hang on. Okay. Give me just a second. So when you have your blanket ready to go, you have 4 squares in this hole that appears right there. That's totally normal. It's just part of the design. So what you're going to do is you're going to want to have like with like. That's the key to this part. So I've put my tails, the white tail with the white square, so on and so forth, yellow with yellow, green with green. This way you can help identify where things need to go. So the first step will be taking, in this situation, I'll start with yellow. And there's yellow across the way here. So I'm going to thread my needle through a stitch over here and then come back this way to cinch it shut from that direction. So let's just go ahead and do that. The idea here is we'll be cinching it shut through multiple directions.
You kind of want to aim for the diagonal.
Yes.
You want to cross from it diagonally.
So we'll do that. And then when we pull it, that's one direction closed. And then we'll go through and duplicate stitch, weave in our ends right through here with the yellow. I'm not going to demonstrate that because I just did, but there we go. Next, we'll do the same thing with green. And there's green across the way here. So we'll go across, grab it, and go this way. That way it cinches shut from that direction. Like so. Oh. There we go. And then you can pull it and do duplicate stitch all through these garter ridges for that end. Then you get to choose. You can choose this square or this square next. You're going to go across and come back. And what I recommend doing is I recommend taking a look at the other side of your blanket halfway through this process, just to see which corner might need more definition. So, for example, this white is pretty stark in my blanket, and maybe I want this corner to be a little bit more one way or the other. Or maybe I think the orange is a little too rounded, so I want to really pull that one more. So that will help inform which way you go when you're weaving in your ends. But let's see, I'm going to just thread my needle here with white. And we'll imagine that these are already woven in. I can go over here and grab a stitch. I keep doing that. There we go. And then we'll come back over this way. You see how we can cinch that up in that direction now, really sharpening off those edges. And then what I'll want to do is I'll want to go up through here a little bit, just so that I can get farther enough away from this intersection to start doing some garter ridges, so that it's some duplicate stitch of these garter ridges, just so that everything's out of the way. That's a helpful tool you can do for any of these triangles or squares around this little pinwheel you have. If you need to move farther away from the intersection, that's a great way to do it. It's just kind of thread up through some purl bumps and then do your duplicate stitch. And then last, we'll do the orange, which we're going to do like with like. So we'll put orange threaded across over here just to grab this. And then, there we go. We have our, it's all nice and cinched. And then we can go up through here and begin duplicate stitch on this side. And there you go. And then once you're done duplicate stitch, using the duplicate stitch method of weaving in ends, you can go ahead and cut your yarn and kind of just pat it in. And then in blocking, that'll be nice and tight and secure. So yeah, and then I didn't exactly finish. So I would have come back here and seen that, oh, okay, maybe I'm not so happy with how that yellow looks. Maybe I want to change that. So I would go and move that around until I'm happy with it. And this is where you can really finesse the style in which you've woven in your ends. But that's how you'll do it for all four, or for all the instances where you have a hole between the corners of your blanket.
Yeah, and one question I have for you, Margaret, do you prefer duplicate stitch for garter stitch over just pulling it through like you originally did in order to get closer to the area where you would do duplicate stitch?
I think duplicate stitch tends to be more secure, and it's what we suggest for this blanket, but it is personal preference. It's just what makes you happiest and what you think will be the most secure for your blanket. So if you have just one where you came and went and then you started weaving it in and you're happy with that, then that's good. But it's really just up to you and what makes the most sense for your blanket, the stitches that you have, what you're working with, what's in front of you. So yeah. As long as your ends get woven in, there's really no wrong way to do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that is that. So let me go ahead and switch back here. And then I think Jaja has some things to say about ideas.
Yes, I see someone asking about the crochet edging around the blanket. And so, oh, sorry, there's one more question about weaving. I think it'd be good to answer before we move on. How long a weaving do you recommend? I feel like good wool is pretty sticky, so it doesn't have to be as long as, say, a cotton or a plant-based yarn. I like at least an inch in one direction. I like to go back and forth, like just 1 inch and then 1 inch the other direction at least.
Yeah, I normally leave about like an 8 to 9 inch tail to weave in 4 inch of stitches. So yeah, I hope that helps answer your question.
Yeah,
but yeah, there we go. All right.
Okay. So next we have another little piece of the interview for Joelle and Gaby. So next was a question for Joelle. Where did you find your inspiration for this design, and how did that influence the color palettes you chose? So this made a lot of sense once we heard it, but this pattern was directly inspired by our Prism quilt design. Which thank you, Gianna, for linking that in the chat. If you haven't seen it before, it's a traditional quilt, and it has a pattern of repeating right angle triangles, kind of like this, and it's a longtime favorite of Joelle's. And in the sewn quilt version, the color transitions in a kind of spectrum from top to bottom, and it's really visually pleasing. Like even though the triangles in that, not all the triangles are the same size, so there's this interesting optical illusion, which is really cool. And I wanted a bit of that sparkle in the knitted version, so I set upon working in color groups, pairing cools and warms and opposing triangles. I also wanted each group to have some dimension within, and because we have lots of closely related colors in good wool, the palette really worked to help create this feeling. My favorite colorways in the blanket are Birthday and Rosebush, where I think you can really see the play of the cools and warms and the subtle shifts within each of the color groups. So that one was really fun. I don't think, we're not screen sharing this one, right? That's fine, but no. I highly recommend checking it out, even if you're not a sewer. It's just really fun to see the original inspiration for this. Highly recommend. But it also goes back to why good wool was chosen, just because of the color palettes and the different ranges that were available.
Yeah, you get to see like a little prism get made where one side is the warm tone and one side is the cool tone. So it creates a dimension and visual interest that's really appealing no matter what colors you choose.
And did we talk earlier? I'm sorry if I forgot, but did we talk earlier about how good wool is dyed?
Yeah. Yeah, there's the undyed natural colors, then the whole other colors, the fun colors we've been playing with for the past few months are all based on those initial colors. So those really pair nicely together because of that.
Yeah, and that's why there's an underlying gray usually or something like that, the grays or the browns, because we don't bleach it and then dye it. It's just on top of that. So it's really just warm and natural looking.
It's beautiful.
So then next we asked Gaby about the technical aspects of this pattern and if she could explain what was involved on that end. And so she had this to say. To me, one of the most important things about designing is that your work translates into a pattern that is logical and easy to follow, employs smart techniques to achieve the desired look, and is as error-free as possible, though human error is sometimes inevitable. I kind of chuckle just because you never know. We'll go over it with a fine-tooth comb and then someone will find something on the launch day. But I feel like with this one, we didn't find any errors. So really proud about that. Thanks, Gaby. And sometimes that means swatching many times, trying different types of decreases or increases or ways of joining before finding that sweet spot where a combination of specific techniques creates a beautiful result. This blanket is made up of squares, which sounds really simple, but since they're knit on the bias, which is that corner to corner that we are used to, it was trickier than it seems to make sure that they fit together nicely and that it was the same every time. So there was a lot of trial and error that went into this. And then that kind of leads me into talking about how important swatching is, because when you're coming up with the final project, it takes a lot of experimenting to get there. And so when people wanted to change things, we recommend, trying it on a smaller scale, let's say some scrap yarn, to make sure an idea works before committing to any major changes.
It also helps visualize an idea too. If you're a visual person, you like to see something in front of you, it helps to see it on a smaller scale at first before committing to a bigger project, like Jaja was saying.
Absolutely. And even just simple pen and paper, just getting a little graph paper, which I'm about to show you in just a second, and just kind of drawing out the thing, because it takes so much time to knit and it takes even more time to design, I feel like. So it takes time to it's best to just go to your paper and just work it out first to see if it makes sense. And before you even make any modifications, I love the pattern as it is. So I highly recommend just taking a chance to do it as written first, and maybe as you're doing it, you'll get ideas of how you can change it the next time. I know I want to make a version where I kind of wanted to stay within my nautical theme and maybe change the direction of some triangles so that I can make it look like a boat in the middle. So one day we'll see if I can ever finish that, but it's in my head. But with that being said, some questions we were seeing were about the evenness of the blanket as a whole when they were finished, because especially as you were first starting out, it might look a little wonky on the side, and just blocking helps. But I think personally a border is a really great idea for how to make it look really nice as a whole. And one of my favorite ways to do it is by picking up stitches, which we're all very familiar with at this point. So I'm going to go switch to my document camera real quick. We could. Thank you. Apologies for this very crude.
It looks great, Joshua. It looks great. We get what you're saying.
Marker. But this is just a quick example of, say, like the crib side version. So you've completed it and it's a little weird. Hey, maybe it'll look like this on the edge. And you want to just make it neat. So what I like to do is I like to start with one side, and you're going to need longer needles for this, probably longer than what you've been working on. I like the 32-inch. I feel like a lot of people are using a 24-inch cable. You'll probably want something that can fit the dimensions of whatever side you're doing. So honestly, a 47 is a good not cumbersome length, I find, for something like this. And you want to start on the right side. So this is looking at the right side. And I recommend starting at this little corner here, picking up stitches here. And you can either do it one by one in this direction, Or you can thread them all, kind of like we did earlier when we were picking up stitches, and just kind of pre-thread the needle. And just keep track of, I recommend garter stitch, so that's kind of in line with the whole blanket, but you can just knit back and forth until you get, say, maybe this much of an edge, an inch or two. And it's good to keep track of the number of rows you needed in order to get the length you wanted, so that you can replicate it on the other side. Now, when you're ready for your second side, I recommend doing it on the opposite instead of the adjacent one, and here's why. Well, here's why. Actually, if you do it here next, it's going to be really awkward and the seams aren't going to line up very well for where you pick it up. But if you do it like this, you'll save yourself a little extra seaming, which I just want to save everyone on their seaming. So if you do it from this direction next and do this side, the reason why is because it would be right side here. You're going to pick it up and work towards your left. Then you will then have it this way, and everything will match. From there, you can do either this or this third. It doesn't really matter, but you'll want to choose, say, your right side. And you can just pick up from your edge as well at this point and just go all the way towards here and just kind of keep going back and forth until you have this. And then finally, I think you would go around and you would pick up right around here as number 4. This is the wrong side. 4. Make it nice and bold. Mm-hmm. Pick up here and can go that way. And you'll have a nice, oh, you see, if you don't count your rows, it'll be extra big like that. But you'll have a nice border around each end, and that'll really help make it neat. Oh, when picking up stitches, do you recommend skipping? I pick up 3 out of every 4 stitches, so you don't inadvertently stretch out the edges and make it look uneven. That's an interesting question. I like to get as many on there as possible and just kind of just not count it as much. I feel like I tend to do 1 per stitch just to make sure that it's all even. But you could try it again. This would be an example where it might be good to try a smaller swatch and see if it's pulling in a direction for 3 out of 4, if you prefer that look, or 4 out of 4 per stitch. But yes, that is my example. So let's just have this here. So we have just, this is a 3. There we go. So people can have it for posterity on the video. So 1, 2, 3, and 4 upside down.
Mm-hmm. And that's only if you choose it. You don't need to do a border, but it is one way that some people have chosen to do that really is effective and looks great. So, and we had some questions about it, so we wanted to offer that as a solution. But
yes, one reason I wanted to do it on mine is because I did not do a gauge swatch at the beginning of my blanket, and I wasn't paying it. I know you would think, again, do as I say, not as I do. I wasn't until I realized, hey, my squares are looking very small, and I actually started with a needle that was a whole size smaller than I was supposed to. And so I effectively would have had something that was about the crib size based on the way I was going. But if I just add a border, that adds at least an extra inch on each side. So there's enough for me to cuddle under.
Yeah, that's a good point. Borders do add extra fabric to your blanket. So if you want an even larger blanket, or if you found a color after starting that you didn't incorporate into your blanket, that's another great use for it. We've also seen some people do tassels at either ends of the corners, which is fun. And there's a whole lot of fun you can get into with borders. So yeah. Okay, I think we're ready to move to the next topic, which is where to go from here. After you finished your Prism blanket, let's say you're really inspired by knitting blankets, picking up stitches, garter stitch blankets, and you want an idea of another project to work on, your next project. Well, we have some ideas for you. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Let me get this figured out. Here we go. Okay, so first is our 4 points blanket, which this is worked in combo or linen quill. And this has a very similar mechanism in that you're picking up stitches and working in garter stitch. So this blanket will start along a long edge of second longest edge of the triangle, and then you'll decrease on one edge of the triangle all the way up to a point. cast off, and then you'll pick up all these stitches down along the triangle you just worked. And from those stitches, you'll build the next triangle. Repeat that process and pick up all these stitches and then work down to this point, pick up stitches. And then for this last triangle, you will also work the mechanism that we practiced a lot in this blanket, which is slipping the last stitch, picking up and knitting a new stitch, and then slipping that stitch over the picked up stitch to really secure that other side of the blanket. So that is our 4 points blanket in combo. Love that one.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite patterns. And I feel like it was kind of the original knit pattern for this idea. It's kind of just the grand pappy of
yes
these no seam blankets.
Yeah, it's a fantastic seamless construction, and it's just a great project. You get to choose 4 your favorite colors and just go. Now, if you want to do a little remix on this, this is our easy puzzle blanket, which is the same construction as the 4 points blanket, except this one works with striped triangles. So if we look at this blue stripe right here, it will start along this edge, then switch to this pink color, and then switch to gray as you're still decreasing along this one side. Then you'll bind off and you'll pick up stitches all the way down the edge of this triangle and work a different stripe design down the next triangle. And you'll continue around the blanket until you have your easy puzzle blanket that's not so puzzling.
Yeah, that's not so, I love that. Not so puzzling.
Not so puzzling.
Yeah, so it's really just the 4 triangles again, except we get to play around with the colors a little more.
Right. And it's a lot of fun. And this one's in linen quill, and it's a great pattern. Now, if you wanted to combine some techniques from this pattern and from the Prism blanket, we have our Windy Day blanket. This is in linen quill worsted, and this combines the 4 points style of square as the main building block. Some of the triangles are striped again, like this blanket, the easy puzzle blanket. But then you'll pick up stitches along the edge of a square in what probably feels very familiar, just like the Prism blanket, to create the next square. So this is a fun one that is a real celebration of color and texture and design if you really want to get into it. So this is the Windy Day blanket. And then last is our mitered corner blanket. This is a masterpiece. This is in linen quill. You're holding 2 strands of linen quill together for this blanket, and you'll knit each square by making an initial square and then picking up stitches along an edge to continue the next square. So this project is built on what you just knit. Every square informs the next square, just like the Prism blanket. So if you really enjoyed that and want to have an explosion of color to play with, this is your project. And there are links in the chat to all of these projects if one of them caught your eye. But let me go ahead and stop screen sharing. But I wanted to say that getting to know these projects is so much fun, and working together with people as you're knitting them is always fun. So we asked Joelle and Gaby what it was like to work together to design this project, the Prism blanket, that is. And we thought it was really sweet. We had to share. But Joelle said, I love working with Gaby. She has an incredible understanding of the technical side of knitting, but also, very importantly, how the technical aspects of the pattern influence the aesthetics of a finished piece. Joelle says, when we set out to figure out how to make this blanket into a seamless pattern, the biased triangles made it really challenging. But I knew Gaby would find a way to make it all work functionally, aesthetically, and also approachability-wise. And of course she did. Joelle loves the in-depth conversations they had over the different ways to approach the puzzle of creating this project. And Joelle really appreciated the care with which Gaby found solutions. Gaby said, having worked together, I love that. They're so cute together.
I know.
Gaby said, having worked together on patterns a few times with Joelle, it's always such a fun and exciting process. The finished product can be a huge surprise. When I design on my own, the possibilities can seem endless, but if I'm having trouble honing loose ideas into something concrete, that can be stressful. But I love working with Joelle because she has such a strong creative vision and an aesthetic sense, which frees me to concentrate on how to execute it. So it sounds like it was a really great design process. And I think it's safe to say we've all loved working on this design. So thank you, Gaby and Joelle. All right. And with that, I think it's time, Jaja. I think it's time to announce our giveaway winners.
I should have had some poppers to
Yes.
next time.
Yes.
So
All
raise
right.
your hand if you want, so we can invite you on screen, but I'm going to go ahead and name what we have. Now, for some of these, I have the full name. For some of these, I have their Instagram handles. For some of these, I have just the email. But we have already reached out to people ahead of time. But if you haven't checked your email yet, you might be surprised if you hear your name and you're here today. So we'll see. So first up, we have the submitted image winners. We have 250 gift card winners, $250 gift card winners. The first is April Rook Smith. Next up, yes, congratulations, at Fred.knits, at Pin Cushion Tina, and at Kim Baroni 1. So that's for $250 gift card at Purl Soho.
We have Tina here.
We do have
yes.
Oh, we have Kimberly too.
Hi.
Hi. Oh, congratulations.
Congratulations, Tina.
Did you see your email or you're just finding out now?
Oh, look at your beautiful blanket. Thank you. All right, let's see. Joe, I think you can go ahead and read the next winners.
Okay, we have $500, 2 people for that. Dixie Butler and Pamela Mange.
Congratulations.
Are any of them here? Curious. It's okay if not. I saw
Maybe
Dixie emailed earlier today.
Yeah.
I'll just read through the rest and then ask if anyone was here. The grand prize $1,000 gift card goes to Ann Simmons. So that's for the submitted image winners. But we have even more. These are for the actual sign up winners. For anyone that signed up, you had a chance to win. So again, we have 4 different ones for $250 gift card. The winners for that are Mario M. Fisher, Gail Altieri. I love this one. pumpkinsquid1229@gmail.com and k.b jorkland@yahoo.com. Then we have 2 winners for the $500 gift card for signing up. That's Abigail Warwick and Julie S. Churchill@gmail.com. And finally, the last $1,000 gift card winner is SRH1081@yahoo.com.
Congratulations, everybody, and thank you for knitting along with us. It's so fun to do these giveaways with our knit-alongs. But if you're here, raise your hand. We want to say hi.
Yeah. Oh, I saw someone in the chat. Oh, we have Ann. Hi.
Oh, let's see.
Yeah,
congratulations.
Yes, this is Ann. Oh my gosh, that's for
not
the
$1,000 blanket yet.
Oh, it's beautiful though.
Yeah. I'm really excited to have a better way to weave in the ends.
Yes.
The corners, my little shame corners. I didn't know I could fix it.
Did you call them shame corners?
Oh, I did. I didn't know how to make the holes go away.
Yeah.
But I have not been working all day. I've been planning how I'm going to spend all my money. So
yeah.
Well, congratulations. We hope you find a fun new project.
Thank you.
Yes. All right.
Oh, and I'm so glad I got the name right. It sounds like, was it Pamela Mange? Was that the
Yes.
one that says I got the name right? Do you want to come on up? Or?
Looks like we have
I see Kimberly. Oh,
hi,
Kimberly. Hi.
Congratulations.
I'm actually at school teaching kindergarten. But I snuck in while they're working on their computers.
Good.
Oh,
That's why it's so loud. They're playing games. I made the purple and gold version.
Ooh.
Except I added some white because my son is a Baltimore Ravens fan.
Very nice.
He didn't want anything in there that was called pansy, which
is
funny. And I told him I had add white, but I told him not black. So I'm on my 3rd row.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. We went away during spring break, so that took 2 weeks away from it too. So I try to work on it a couple hours every night, but I absolutely love it.
We're so glad. And
I thought for sure it was a fake text when you texted me someone. I've entered for like 10 years now and I've never won anything. And
oh my gosh.
I'm like, oh no, I bet you it's one of those scams.
Yeah.
It just makes it all the more special.
No, they're not. So thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Of course. You're welcome. Thank you for knitting along with us. There we go.
Looks like Pam is talking, but on mute. So let's see. Not sure. Let's see if we can add Pam.
Can you add a spotlight for her, maybe?
Yes, I'm just gonna try the gallery view to see if I can find her. But can someone put instructions, one of the moderators, for how to raise your hand so I can find them more quickly? Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thanks, Gianna. We want to say hi, of course.
Yeah. I'm gonna keep an eye out for that. But in the meantime, do you want to, let's look at, see if we have any questions.
Yes, if you have any questions, it's time for Q&A. So if you have any lingering questions, please feel free to put them in the chat, and we can go ahead and answer them.
Okay, they're not a lot today, but
That's
did
all
anyone,
right.
oh, there was the one earlier. Did anyone make a crochet edging around their blanket? I haven't seen anyone do that, but I'm sure you could very easily do that.
Yes.
Just, I'm not as familiar with crochet myself, but like Margaret, would you have any quick recommendations for that? Like
Yes,
a single stitch?
I would recommend here. Let me switch to my document camera really quickly. I would recommend poking your crochet hook through in between garter ridges. Let me see if I can turn this down. As you go, you can kind of go right through here.
Oh, you may have to pin your thing again. So I'm gonna unpin myself so you can
Okay,
remove spotlight so you can just show real quick.
there we go. Yeah, I would say you can put your crochet hook right through in between garter ridges. Whatever you do, I would just suggest staying consistent. So even if you don't do that, even if you do something different, I would just recommend staying consistent, and that way it'll look intentional and smooth all the way throughout. It looks like we have Pam though, so we can.
Oh, we do.
Yes, let's bring her back up.
Yes, I see. Okay.
Hi, Pam. Let's see.
Let me add myself back in there.
Let's see. I don't know if we can hear you yet. There we go.
Can you hear me now?
Yes,
we can.
Hello, congratulations.
Thank you. I'm so excited. My husband had the same reaction when I told him, and he said, "Are you sure that's not a scam?" And
Yes.
I'm so excited. I started over 3 times.
Oh my goodness.
Ooh.
It's not perfect, and I'm 3/4 of the way through.
It's absolutely gorgeous though. I
can't
love
see
those
anything
colors.
else.
I am an ADD knitter, and this was perfect for me because you're, always doing something new. And I
Yes.
listened to a million podcasts while I was doing it. So if you want any recommendations on that,
We love
Yes,
that.
please email them in. Let me know.
but thanks.
Thank you so much for
Thank
knitting along
you.
with us. Congratulations again.
Thanks.
Okay.
There's another interesting question, and I wish I had more time to think about this, but what projects do you suggest for the extra good wool yarn?
Ooh,
I feel
maybe
like that depends on whether or not you had the baby or the throw size, because there's a big difference between the two in terms of what would be left over. Crib size.
crib
Okay.
size.
I feel like that one had more left over than the throw size. I'm not sure if there would be enough for like a full-on blanket for like the scraps, if you just wanted to kind of change that up. But I would recommend emailing us that question, and we'll have more time to really look at it and think about it.
Yeah. Oh, it looks like Gianna put a link to the projects with good wool in the chat. That's helpful.
Thank
That
you.
way you can check it out. Mittens. Yep. Yep. There's a lot of fun, quick projects you can do with a small amount of yarn, but it really does depend on how much you have left.
Yeah, and I think so. If you're looking for a weight, I would recommend a sport. I feel like this leans more towards a sport than a DK weight.
It kind of is on the border, but it does tend to lean.
Yeah, just from experience, it tends to lean there.
Yeah.
Always do your gauge watches.
Yes.
Me, I swear. One day, next time I'll do it. And next up, is there an easy way to even up the wear? I feel like there's a word missing here. It's from Audrey.
Where you join with the one square to the next.
Yeah, where you join with the pickup, knit, slip stitch over.
Yes, that is, again, my best recommendation is to stay consistent and I found that using some kind of pillow or something on my lap as I'm knitting to support the weight of the project has really, really helped, so that I'm not pulling and creating differently shaped or different lengths of stitches as I go about that pickup section. That'll really help make sure that everything stays consistent and stays evenly spaced. After you do the pick up and slip the stitch over, it can help to kind of just wiggle the stitch on your needle, just kind of back and forth, just wiggle it a little bit. That'll help even it out. And you can also, if you really need to, after blocking, well, first of all, blocking will really help, but you can also grab the end of a knitting needle or a tapestry needle and kind of hand pull some of the loops around to redistribute any yarn that might be too much in one area or too less in it, or too few in a little bit in another area. But yeah, you can kind of help remove the what am I trying to say here? You can help move the slack yarn throughout the stitches. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah. Oh, I see a question about blocking tips for such a large project.
Yes. Definitely recommend the previous. you went very in depth in the previous Zoom and Knit that we had, which we have the recording up for that. So do we have the link for that ready in the chat? We can add to the chat.
I'm sure the moderators will throw it in there for us. But in the meantime, you can use a pillowcase. You can put your blanket inside of a pillowcase, just a clean pillowcase, nothing crazy, no crazy dyes on it that would bleed into the yarn of your blanket. But put your blanket in a pillowcase, and then you can wash it and block it through the process we described in our previous Zoom and Knit, where you soak it in a basin with the sweater soap and let it sit for 15 minutes. And then that will help to keep the shape of it together, so that when you are done soaking it and take it out of the little bath that you made for it, you aren't like pulling and distorting the stitches. That'll really help make an easy little capsule or bundle for you to carry. Throughout the process.
No, I've definitely done that, especially with shawls, and then I bring the whole thing out. It's just wild to me how much it can stretch once it's wet.
Yes.
So.
You don't want the weight of that to really, ruin any of the hard work you did. So yeah. All right. Did we have any other questions that you saw?
Oh, there's one more that just came in.
Okay.
My friend just received a Prism Blanket kit and is more comfortable with straight needles. I'm using circular. Is there any advantage, disadvantage to either one? Yes. In this pattern, unfortunately, circular needles are a must because of the way you have to curve when you're picking up stitches, especially from the second column onwards.
Yeah, we would definitely recommend circular needles. If they're interested in some tips and demonstrations for how to work with circular needles, we're happy to help with the one-on-one project help over Zoom. That's a great way to get some hands-on experience. But yeah, circular needles are nothing to be scared of. They're super fun and very convenient. You'll never lose one because it's just one needle in your project. So yeah, if they're open to trying new things, they're up for a challenge, I would definitely recommend going with circular needles for this project. Yeah. All right.
I did see another question. This is the discount still available for the Goodwill? Is the landing page still up for the Prism Blanket? Do you know?
I believe the landing page has changed or will change shortly, as we're now done with the Prism Blanket Knit-Along. But our discount codes never expire. So if you haven't used it yet, you're welcome to use it.
Yes, and if you have any trouble finding that or need to research what yours was, I recommend emailing us either again at customerservice@purlsoho.com or knit-along@purlsoho.com, and we can find that for you.
Yeah, we'd be happy to help. All right. Is that all the questions we have?
I think now we're good.
No, okay. Well, yeah, we're here for questions if you have any ones that you think of down the road, but let's see your blankets. I'm really excited to see. If you'd like to show us your blanket, please raise your hand and we'll invite you up on screen, and we can talk about all the exciting things. Let's see. Oh,
I see Tina.
there we go.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello. We can hear you just fine. There we go.
Okay, so the blue one just needs the ends woven in. So while I was waiting to figure out how to do the ends woven in, I went ahead and I started the one that I did the diamonds
Yes.
and the pastels.
Oh, so cool.
It starts with the pink and then the peach and then there's a purple. And then all I need left for rows 1 and 2 is to finish up the pink, and then I'll do one more column.
Oh, that's
Okay.
beautiful. Wow.
And
That's-
and your silk is beautiful yarn. It's I'd never worked with
Oh.
silk before and I love it.
Oh,
Is
is
it-
that cattail silk?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Interesting. 'Cause, yeah,
Cattail
that does
silk.
look different. That one looks so
Mhm.
much. You can really see the drape for that one. Just
Yes. So
It's
I really
beautiful.
enjoyed it. Thank
We're
you.
so glad you're enjoying it and making your
You're
second
welcome.
blanket.
yeah.
Yes. Thank you. Let's see.
Next up, we have Randa.
Let's see. There we go.
Good.
We can hear
Yes.
you. Yes, hi.
I did. Mine is in the same colors as, who was it? Sarah that won?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes.
Beautiful.
I'm still working on it,
It looks
as you
great.
can see, but it's been a lot of fun to do.
We're so glad. Yeah, it
I've
changes.
learned a lot.
Yeah, there's always something new to look forward to in this blanket. You know, there's a new color or new technique. It's great, and we're so glad you're enjoying it. I mean, your colors look
did.
fantastic.
Thank you. And your videos have been really helpful. This is the first one I've been able to join live. And it's been a lot of fun. Yeah.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. We're glad you're here with us. All right. Let's see.
Sorry. There we go. I'm seeing.
Oh, we have
So-
Emily.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello.
Welcome.
Hi, thank you guys so much. I did one of your bundles.
Oh, I think that's the birthday.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
love these
Joelle's favorite.
colors. I'm on square 3 of row 2, which, so I'm behind, but at least I think at this point I've done all the different techniques. You know, I've had to join this way and 4 corners. So I'm feeling pretty confident about going forward. And I've really enjoyed it. I love the no seam construction because I have so many projects literally that are sitting seam.
Yep.
And did not need another one of those.
Absolutely.
No, it's so great. This is just it seems itself as it goes along, so you can just enjoy it, which is just fantastic. And doesn't have to sit in a pile with the other projects that aren't seamed yet.
Yeah, I looked upstairs because it's just, you don't want to see upstairs.
Thank you guys. It's been super fun and these have been really helpful.
Oh, thank you so much
Thanks for
being with us.
joining.
Thank you. All right.
I don't see is there a picture available? Or
Let's see.
I wonder if they're saving it for.
We can hear you. I just don't think we can see you yet.
I'm not quite sure how to fix that. Let's see.
Oh, yeah.
If you go to your video and click the up arrow, you might be able to change your camera input.
Okay, talk to me like I'm in the 3rd grade.
Okay, on your lower screen,
Okay.
all your
Gotcha.
icons where it says stop video, there's a little caret on the top right corner. If you click that, you might be able to choose which camera setting you have.
I've got hide self view. That's sort of the only thing it's showing. Nope.
Hmm. Well,
Okay. Tell me what I'm looking for with icons. I've got reactions, I've got apps, I've got share screen.
it'll be along the left-hand side where it says video and mute. You want to click
I've
on
got
video.
mute my audio.
It'll be right next to that where it says stop video. There's a little caret next to that.
Okay, gotcha.
And then if you click the up arrow, do you see something? Oh, maybe you can change your settings. Well,
Yeah.
No, never mind. I'm doing tea cake. I'm very new. I'm slow, but this has been great.
well, we're glad you're enjoying it, and we're sure your blanket looks beautiful.
Yes.
We'll just picture it.
Yes. Did you do one of our bundles or did you do a custom
I
one?
did the bundle, the tea cake bundle and crib
Oh,
size.
right. Tea
Oh,
cake. Okay. Got
beautiful.
you.
That's such a fun one.
Well, we're glad you
you're-
joined us.
Yes.
Thanks for trying.
Sorry, my technological
That's okay. Email us a photo of your blanket at Knit-Along at Purl Soho. We can talk about it there.
I really miss coming into the store because it's so helpful to have that interaction. And so I have loved the chat for that reason.
Oh,
Even in North Carolina, I have been to the store and it's one of my favorite places.
aw.
Start video. Is that working?
Oh.
No.
Oh,
No, it's
No,
not.
not.
Messaging.
Okay. Sad.
It's okay.
Anyway, I can see y'all and hear y'all, and that has been the most important thing.
oh, well,
you.
thank you for knitting along with us. We're always here to help. So if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out.
Great. We'll do.
Yeah. Mhm.
Great
Thank
project.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Adding spotlight, you know. Sorry, you
we
got a little
go.
song for yours.
Okay. Hey guys.
Hello.
Hi.
So yeah, I finished my
Beautiful.
version. I picked my own colors.
What?
You know, the neutrals and the cools are more my
Mhm.
my jam. So that's kind of what I did. But then I had a lot of leftovers, so I decided to make a matching throat pillow.
Come in, Karen.
Oh, that's so clever.
Yeah, and then on the other side, it's
Whoa.
gonna have top and bottom that overlap to close the back of the.
That's amazing.
Yes.
Wow.
Just kind of took some of the elements and created a little. So that's almost done. But yeah,
That
was-
is incredible.
My mouth is just
Yeah.
That's such a great idea. Wow.
Yeah, sometimes you have to have leftovers and you can get creative. And I wanted to kind of have a match, but do something a little different. So that's kind
Yeah.
of what I did.
Well,
No,
there you
and
go.
that'll be
That's how to
great on the
use.
couch. There you
Yeah,
go.
that's how to
You
use the
figured it out.
leftovers. Yeah, that's genius. That's so beautiful. What a great
Thank
thing.
you. And thank you for this Knit-Along. It's been a pleasure.
Oh, we're so glad to have you. Thank you so much.
Well, I was
Thank you for
gonna say,
joining
do you have two helmets?
And then we have wrong person.
There we go. Oh. Let's see. I don't think we can hear you yet. There we
Okay.
go. Hello.
Hi.
So I did two. I did this one.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, you did two. Whoa.
2 blankets.
Yeah. And this one.
Oh, look
They're
at
the full
that.
throw size. It
And
looks
I did a crochet border. Can you see it?
Oh, yes.
I see. It's
Just-
like really
just-
subtle.
Just single, you see?
Mm. Mhm.
Single crochet.
A single crochet all around with one of the main colors. And I think it finishes it, it's neat
Yeah.
on the whoever wants to do it. It was fun.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun.
It's
No, I'm so
beautiful.
glad I could see that. Thank you for sharing. So
Yeah.
that the person that asked about crochet could see that.
Right. And 2 blankets. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
The second one, I did it 6x4 because some of my children are very tall.
Oh my
So-
goodness.
I don't know if you can see it.
Oh my gosh. That is a big cozy blanket. That's amazing.
That is a blanket.
And when I block it, I do put it in the washer.
Oh,
Oh, yes, yes. And it came
Wow.
out fine.
It does work fine. No
Wow.
heat, just
No
a
heat.
woolen program, no heat, very low spin, and it's perfect. It's better than if you do it by hand, I feel, because there is no weight, it's already spin right. It's perfect.
yeah.
The
I'm really
wool
glad.
does work in the washer.
Okay.
No pilling, no signs of that. That's great.
No, nothing. It's perfect.
Wow. That's awesome. That's
Thank
great news,
you.
especially for such a big blanket.
In the washer, they're fine.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much for showing us your blankets.
You're
That's
welcome.
quite an accomplishment. Thank you.
It was my first knit-along, but it was a lot of fun.
Oh my gosh. Oh, we're honored you chose ours for your first knit-along.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And looks like we have Amy.
Here we go.
There we go.
Hi.
Hi, Amy.
I can't believe how fast some people knit. But,
Yeah.
but my blanket, like I said, is on the East Coast with a friend of mine and her baby, and they love it. But I wanted to tell people that you guys are terrific. And with your help, I am doing the fair and square blanket.
Oh, is that from the one-on-one?
Beautiful.
I highly recommend it for people who are looking for a new project. I'm
Oh my
almost done with
gosh.
the second row. So, but it's another one where you don't have to sew it all together. So I just wanted to recommend it, and it's with the morning yarn,
Yes.
which is beautiful.
Yes.
And machine washable. Definitely
Yes.
machine washable.
So thank you for your help. It's actually working.
I'm so
Oh,
glad. Thank you. For those of you that don't know, Amy did one of our one-on-ones recently. We actually had a joint where both Lily and I did it at the same time just to make sure, because it seemed like a harder question, but we figured it out. And
They're absolutely terrific. So I highly recommend the one-on-ones.
Thank you.
Thank you, Amy. And have fun with your blanket.
Thank you.
That one looks so cozy. I love the texture.
It's really pretty.
Yeah. All right. I think that's everyone. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Wow. We saw a lot of beautiful blankets.
Really,
It's
really.
amazing. Yeah, it has been so awesome seeing everyone's blankets. What a fantastic way to wrap off a great knit along. This has been so much
Seriously.
fun. All of these cold winter months have been so much brighter with the fun colors of our knit along and the Prism blanket. It's been so great. The easy squishy garter stitch has been so satisfying and soothing. And my little kitty will sit next to me while I'm knitting, and he loves it. So it's been a really great project, and I'm glad we could all be here to celebrate it today. Congratulations again to all the winners. Thank you for knitting along with us. And yeah, I think Jaja's going to tell us about where to find this recording.
Well, sorry, in my head, I was just thinking how we're all winners, because at the end of this, whenever you do finish, we've got a new blanket.
Yes.
So there's that. And as for the recording, we have recorded this, and we will put this up as soon as we can, and we get it edited and put those last minute touches on it. The other two are already on a playlist on our YouTube channel. So the best way to know when it's coming out is to subscribe to just our Purl Soho channel, and you'll get a little notification when that goes up.
Yes. And even though this knit along is ended, you can still upload your progress photos to our landing page in the knit along archive page, which we talked about earlier. You can tag us on Instagram, and we love seeing your pictures, because I know not everyone's finished. That's okay. We want to see them. But if you're looking ahead at the future about the next knit along,
I already see people asking in the comments.
Yes. Are you ready, Jaja? Okay.
Yes.
The next knit along will be for the dumpling bag. This is designed by Jeannie Lee, and it's knit in our Blackbird linen, which is 100% French linen. It's so beautiful. It's so fun to knit with. And it's just a fun take on the classic knot bag where the handle kind of slips through, and then you can just carry it effortlessly on your arm. It's gorgeous. It's fun. It's a great project for, yeah, it's a great project for the summer. And so keep an eye out for more information about that in a sneak peek email coming soon.
But this is a fun one that I think we'll be able to customize in ways that I'm really excited about. I already have some ideas for the next one, and can't wait to show you all.
Yes.
Yes, stripes, Tarja.
Yeah, we have the pattern available currently, and the moderators put a link in the chat if you wanted to take a look at that ahead of time, just to get a sneak peek. But yeah, that's our dumpling bag will be later this month.
Oops, one thing. I just want to make sure. Sorry.
Yeah, we have a lot of things.
I was so excited about the bag. I was like, that's it, right? But again, as always, if you have any questions, we're available via email, but we also have that one-on-one project help session that Amy talked about. It's completely free. I believe there's already a link for that in the chat. Thank you. Thank you, guys. You guys know how to reach us. We try to respond as quickly as we can, usually within the same day, usually within an hour. We're on top of it. So
yeah,
we're here for you.
Yeah, we're happy to help if you have any questions come up as you work on your blankets or anything else. But yeah, thank you all so much for joining us. Tag us on Instagram, stay in touch. It's been so much fun, and we'll see you at the next one later this month. Thanks, everybody. Bye.